Hey, 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 good evening, good afternoon, good morning, wherever you are on your part of the globe. I hope you're doing well, and I hope you had a great day. Well, here we are again on Earth's #1 psychic radio network, the Ask One radio network. Or maybe you're watching us on Moonstruck TV. Maybe you're checking us out on YouTube. You know, we're everywhere. You cannot run and hide from us. Not only that, we're psychic. We'll find you. It's true. It's true. Anyway, I haven't had much sleep, I have to be honest, you guys. It's been a very long day, so I'm a little punchy, all right? And I need to get grounded, right? I'm feeling a little out of balance. So it's probably none more perfect that I've brought a guest to come chat with us tonight about, oh gosh, so many topics. You know, last week I was talking about my guest being a triple threat. Well, tonight's guest is so well-versed and so practiced in so many arts, so many of the psychic arts, so many of the literary arts, etc. You know, she's even had experience around the art of dying. This girl is just extraordinary, you know. But, you know, as I said, we find ourselves here together on a weekly basis, and we'd like to talk about these subjects that are, well, not the kind of thing you can always talk about around the office cooler, right, without judgment, etc. And this is a judgment-free zone here on the Spirit Phoenix Rising Show, here on our network. And tonight I've got a great guest who, well, does writing. She works with people in the realm of tarot, very much like I do. And she's also very interested in chakras. Now, not everyone, unless you go to a yoga class, or maybe you're into meditation, maybe you visited a Reiki healer. If you're in some realm of the woo-woo, I know you've heard of chakras, but not everybody knows what these things are. So if you would, I would like you to join me in welcoming, oh my gosh, I'm so excited, I can't talk, welcoming my dear friend, Debbie Lacroix, to the show. Why don't we bring her on, you guys? Be nice to her. Be nice.
Hello.
Hi, how are you?
Good. How are you?
I am doing really well tonight. I'm doing super well. You know, like I said, I feel a little punchy. You know, sometimes when you don't have enough sleep, it feels like you've had a bit of caffeine, right? You get that kind of, you know, that energy.
It's a different sort of energy, and almost like a creative, because it's you don't have that sense of what is the word? So something holding you back. So it allows you to kind of flow and be yourself.
Right. You know, and we talk about energy, right? And when we talk about frequency, you know, color has frequency, sound has frequency, but the human body itself has frequency, the heart, the brain. You know, maybe you could show people here tonight how chakras are related to energy. I mean, it's energy in the body.
Yeah. You know, when I started studying tarot and getting more into it, chakras popped up into my studies, and I had really I knew what chakras were, but I did not understand them. And I always saw them with the little colors, and then people said that they had the crystals. And I had not attached frequency and vibrations to them until I started studying more. And people were talking about the rainbow, and I started thinking in terms of science. I have 2 boys, and they're very science and math oriented. And I am not. I am the creative, the dreamy one, the one that you're constantly pulling down, because my feet are never on the ground. So I'm extremely rooted. So you don't have to have your feet on the ground to stay rooted. But I've learned enough from them, and it just started to make sense and to click that this is how this is all tied. It has to do with the vibrations of the colors, the vibrations that each stone has, the vibrations in our body that we give off. And that's why we have feelings, you know, why some people have more energy and are able to accomplish things, and other people are vibrating, you know, if your chakras aren't aligned, you're just not vibrating correctly. And it's hard to stay rooted. It's hard to be creative, and it's hard to trust. And if you don't trust yourself and others, it just makes it very difficult for you to go on with your simple day.
Yeah. You know, the word chakra, you know, it means wheel. I recently had a chat with an old professor of mine who worked with me in the realm of Hinduism, etc. And he was saying that etymologically speaking, here we've got this word that means something that's churning or something that's spinning. It's this wheel. And there are these spinning energy centers throughout the body that have a certain amount of control or a certain relationship with these different energy centers in the body, right? So, we talk spiritually about 7 of them, but, there are some people who say there are up to 114 chakras in our system, in our body. But maybe you could start with, chatting a little bit about the root on up through the crown, and we can touch a little bit on this and enlighten people that are listening to, what they're thinking and feeling might have something to do with their chakras.
Yeah, right. And so let's see how quickly we can go through like a 7-hour lecture here. But when we talk about those other chakras, they're actually more of like, even the crown is not quite in our body, but it's like they're up and beyond and taking us and ascending us. So when you look at the chakras, I always explain it to my clients as a way almost like your spine. And I'm like, if you're hunched over, you feel fatigued and you just almost feel like crooked. And our goal is to align. And in the, the technical is to get them spinning correctly. But really what we're trying to do is we're trying to align and create this fluid, almost like a pump, where when the water comes up, if there's a bubble in there that's blocking, you might get a little bit of energy, but you're not going to get that full experience. And so we're trying to go through our whole body and all these chakras and rise ourselves up. And it all starts with the root chakra. And I always, look at the little poster and I share it with my clients. And to me, it should be almost at the feet, but it's not. It's more like along our spine. They're all kind of along our spine if you look at how it is. And then up and going up to the heavens, actually, is how they go. So with our root, it's about being grounded. And yes, I know it takes me a long time to get to that simple thing. It's all about being grounded. If we are not grounded, we don't feel safe. And it really goes with the basic hierarchy of needs. We need to feel safe and we need to feel secure. And this ties into, we need to feel safe in ourselves, in the people that surround us, financially safe, healthy. If we don't feel healthy and we have fear, what happens is we get this anxiousness. And you feel it very physically as well. Mm. And it just makes it so you really can't get very far. So you see these people who, when their root chakra is completely shaken and they're not getting very far, they're having a hard time. They can't hold down a job. They can't have relationships. Everything is just really off. So that is always where you need to start, is staying grounded. And so then we go to our sacral, which is about our relationships and our creativity and our pleasure zone. Mm. And there's all of the chakras have so many different segments to them. And so when we try to simplify it, it feels almost, so simple. But really what it's about is you have to be able to enjoy life. You have to kind of be in the moment. And if your sacral is off, a lot of times there's addictions because you're finding yourself trying to find that pleasure that you don't know how to balance it, or you're completely not having any pleasure and you're very rigid and not enjoying life at all. So the sacral, which is our pleasure center, it's where that creativity flows. And you find a lot of famous actors and musicians, their sacral is very overactive and they're extremely creative. And we see some really great and entertaining things from it, but it's not healthy. And we see that in the news and in the tabloids and everything.
So a chakra can be underactive, but it can also be overactive. You could be exhibiting too many characteristics, too many symptoms of an overactive, or other people might have an issue in the same area, but it's less so. It's underactive. They need more of that oomph, more of that chakra X factor, right?
Exactly. And for some people, it goes over and then it'll become balanced, and then it goes under, and it just goes back and forth, and they have kind of a hard time with their life. And you see that in different personalities as well. And as you study the chakras, you can definitely begin to feel that energy, and you can look at someone and say, oh dear, they need to work on that sacral chakra, and help balance that out. So one of the easiest ways to balance that is you need to learn to enjoy life, but of course in moderation. But just have fun, be in the moment, take deep breaths. I mean, when we talk about things that we learn in yoga, that the breathing is so important. And when you're not breathing, you're not experiencing. And it's not good for your body, for you physically, for you emotionally.
And that's what happens when we go through the motions, right? Without weighing out the emotion that comes along with the motion, the activity. We've got to bring a sense of mindfulness to all of it, right? We have to be aware, attention, intention, everything.
You got it. You know it. So, and I don't know how far up we're going to get here, but we can
go through. Go on.
So we have Plexus, and this is our motivation center. This is where we get things done. This is our fire. And of course, all of the chakras are tied into the elements. And the fire, it's like that pit, that fire in your belly that gets you going. And some people, they procrastinate. They have their solar plexus is completely off, and they just don't want to do anything. And they're not creative. And it all ties in, because when you feel safe, then you can get to the next point where you can enjoy life, and you can start to have fun, and then you can start to be productive. And when you have no fire, then you're not accomplishing things. You're not getting those promotions, or you feel like you're being overlooked. But then there's those whose solar plexus is way overboard. That fire is, they need to start taking wood off of that fire. And those are the people, and you see them, and you can tell I'm a mom because I'm going to use a PTO reference, but they're the ones who are like in every committee. They're the PTO president, and then they're also on the church, and they're all over the place, and they have to be the person in charge. They have no trust. So it all ties in, where if it's overactive, you begin to lose trust in others, and then that relationship. And so even though you can have one or two chakras off, they do all flow together. And that's why it's important to keep that alignment going.
I see. And so we've got the root, which is down at the base of the spine, and this lower belly, sort of like gut area, for lack of a better term, is where we see this sacral. And, that also has to do with the genitalia, etc., our sexuality. And then we get to that belly button, right up above there, into this solar plexus. And then next we've got the heart, right?
And what I have found, and I'm sure you see this, is the heart is there's actually 3 types of love: being able to give love, and most people have no problem giving love; being able to accept love, which is a little bit harder for most people; and the hardest one, though, is loving yourself, self-love. And so some people be like, I have no problem loving. And it's like, but do you have self-love? And that's when that one gets to be a little bit painful. And so that's when I do find a lot of my clients have trouble with that self-love and that acceptance. And a lot of times they're just really hard on themselves, and they feel like they should be doing more, or they are thinking about things in the past that they are not quite forgiving themselves for. So forgiveness is a huge tool for the heart chakra.
Right on. And, we didn't touch upon it, but, these 7 chakras we're talking about, relate to the 7 colors of the rainbow too. So that root one is red, right? And then we see an orange for the next one. And then we're working ourselves into this like beautiful yellow. And that makes sense with, right, the solar plexus, the sun, that bright yellow color. When we reach the heart, we've got green. And then we move up. Oh, I'm sorry.
The green always threw me off when I was trying to learn them. And of course I was like, Roy G. Biv. It goes back into science class. It's the rainbow: red, orange, yellow. The blue is for the heart. Or green is for the heart, and then blue is the next one that we're doing, which is the throat chakra.
Right on. Yeah.
And this one is about, it should be the ear and the throats, but of course it can't tie it in, because it's about being able to listen and to be able to speak with clarity and conviction. And a lot of people are like, I have no problem speaking. I can talk all the time. It's like, but what are you saying? Are you actually listening? And this is the big one. Are you speaking your truth?
Yes. Mm-hmm.
Because a lot of people are like, of course I'm speaking my truth. And I'm like, are you speaking your truth, or are you speaking the truth that others want to hear? And then people pause.
Big difference. Big difference.
Yes. Yeah. And I mean, we're not really talking about a lot of ways to fix these, but singing and chanting are so good for the throat chakra, and just, singing along with the radio. That one is such a good way to fix a lot of your chakras, because you can have fun. It's pleasurable. You're listening, you're singing.
And we mentioned the 7 colors of the rainbow, the 7 chakras, but you bring up music. This also correlates to the 7 notes of the scale before we reach an octave, right? So there's a lot of interesting system overflow and overlap between these different auspicious systems that have the number 7 in them. Interesting.
And we can also start tying it into crystals if we want to. And then all the elements, and I've mentioned the elements. Of course, we only have 4 elements, but then it goes, there are things, and of course, my mind just went blank. So it's late here in the Midwest compared to your time zone. So, but yeah, so there's all these different elements that tie the chakras together. But what happens is, I think a lot of people get overwhelmed, because you also have the goddesses that go with it, and then you have the symbols that go with it. But really, you just have to understand the basics. And if you can understand the basics, you can really work on aligning yourself, especially in meditation, as you know them, because you can start at the feet and grounding yourself as you get through the root, and then heading through the sacral and working on that pleasure, and knowing that it's okay, to be a little bit to be your sexual being, and be creative, and to go up. So after the throat chakra, we come to the third eye, which is our intuition, our trusting ourselves. And that's where we are, our third eye, being psychic, when that opens up. And a lot of people have the intuition, but they don't trust their intuition. And that's what's holding them back from experiencing so many other amazing gifts that they have hiding inside of them.
Right on. And then this lifts us right up to the very top. I heard you mention the crown when we started, right?
Oh, yes, it's our spirituality. It's our connection to the divine. It's trusting that there's something else there, and ascending. And when all 7 of the chakras are actually balanced, then you can go up to the next step, which is almost where you start to have a little bit of an out-of-body experience. And that takes a lot of meditation, but you have to be completely balanced here before you can experience all those other ones. And then they all tie into each other, very much kind of like the tree of life is very ascending as well.
Okay. Well, and I know you're very interested in tarot too. So do you have your deck with you?
I do. I have multiple decks.
Oh, yeah. Well, why don't you know what? Let's pull us a card. Let's pull a card.
So this is the Mystic Dreamers deck, and it is my favorite deck. It is actually the one that opened me up to reading for other people. I've always done this. So the thing about, ascending and learning and having these gifts is it's one of those things that's really hard to share with other people, because you don't want to be judged. You don't want people to think you're strange. And
right. I said it's a judgment-free show, judgment-free zone.
Exactly. And I never shared it with anybody. And then I got this deck, and I'll show it to you here. And I took it home, and it spoke to me, and it said, you're supposed to do this for other people. And I was like, yeah, no. First of all, it didn't even occur to me that I'm hearing voices, right? But that's another whole issue. But it
clairaudience.
Right. It was like, you're supposed to do this for others. And so I started that path, and it was just it was such a release. And I decided in my area, I'm like, you know what? I don't care. I'm going to do modern tarot. Has kind of become my philosophy. It is something that everybody should have in their life if they choose to. It's a great tool. So
it's a wonderful tool. Absolutely, absolutely.
Two of Cups.
Two of Cups for the day. All right.
Yeah.
Talk about the heart. The cups representing the heart.
And the fluidity. And so Two of Cups, this deck, it's interesting because I do notice that different decks, to me, cards mean different things in different decks. So when I pull this one, I always think almost of the Lovers. And I think it's because of the artwork in this one, the intuition, it's a connection. But I like this one better than the Lovers in this deck, because when I pull the Lovers from this deck, I feel like it's almost a forced love where you're losing yourself in a relationship. Where this one, I feel that it's being in a relationship where you are allowed to be yourself, and it's a healthy relationship.
One can give themselves away too much, I think, when they, not necessarily because it's their first relationship, but I think it takes a while to learn about the balance of give and take. And we started out this show talking about balance and balance in the chakras and balance in relationships. And that idea of temperance, balance is really key in this card, don't you think?
I definitely do, because whenever you have a relationship with others, and when we're talking about relationships, it's the heart, it's also the sacral, because you're having relationships, with others and yourself as well. And so it's really important. I think this card is reminding us that it's good to connect with others, but don't lose who you are. Always keep your individuality as you get to know other people, and that's going to give you a much stronger relationship in the end.
Wow. So how do people work with you then? Do they come to you more through the chakra yogic side, or do they approach you through the tarot side, or do you find these two things cross over when people come to you for coaching and counsel?
Yeah, when they come to me, it's I love doing things like spiritual pathways and higher purpose and spirit guide connections. And when they find me, sometimes they think they have something that they want, and it's this energy. I start to read their energy, and a lot of times the chakras have become really it's growing for strength for me. So I begin to feel the energy. And we'll usually start off with their chakras, especially if there's something that's off, because that oftentimes is kind of something, I'm saying something a lot right now, but it's an area that they need to fix for themselves. I'm very focused on empowerment. So I don't want someone to come to me because they want an easy answer. I want someone to come to me because they're looking to grow and they're looking to become stronger in who they are.
I see. Oh, no. I was just kind of fascinated about the connection too between the cards and the chakras. As a matter of fact, you and I are both so fascinated in this that we're actually going to be joining forces somewhat with a few of our other psychic friends in a couple weeks for the 12 Days of Christmas online summit. You want to chat a bit about that?
Yes, this is really exciting. We're both taking this wonderful class with Christina Quick, and it's the 12 Days of Christmas, and it's going to have 13 different classes that are all free that you can take on different topics that are all spiritual and all healing in time for Christmas, because Christmas, it's a very joyful time of year, but at the same time, it's very overwhelming and it's very anxiety ridden, and it's the time where you begin to think about those that you miss and your loved ones. And so we're both doing chakra topics, and mine is a little bit more focused on the gifts of chakras and how we can focus on giving back and different things that we can put into the community, but using our chakras that are going to heal us as well as help the community and make it a win-win.
I see. Well, I was just looking over at what my producer was saying, and he's reminding us that our time is coming to a close. So that being said, how can listeners find you if they want to talk more about chakras, if they want to talk more about the tarot with you? How do they get in touch?
Oh, great question. So I'm on Facebook, Dreamcatcher Dragon. So if you do at Dreamcatcher Dragon on Facebook, and my website is dreamdragontarot.com.
Excellent. Well, as I said before, when we started, this is Spirit Phoenix Rising Show. I'm Renee Lynn, and I just want to thank I want to thank Debbie so much for taking time out. I know it's late where you are. Thank you so much for being here with us. And thank you for joining with me and the rest of us for the 12 days of Christmas. I mean, guys, if you're interested, it's going to be full of giveaways and fun talks. You know, get in touch with Debbie, get in touch with me, and we'll be happy to tell you all about it. That's coming up. What's the date again? December 7th?
7th or 8th, and it runs days. Yeah.
Yeah, we'll figure it out. It's a gift to you. It's a gift to me. It's a gift to all of us because it's the holidays. But again, thank you so much for taking time and giving us a crash course on staying balanced with the chakras. Anyway, guys, I hope you have a beautiful night, a beautiful morning, a beautiful day wherever you are. Again, I'm Renee Lynn, and I'll catch you next time, okay? Take care.